My name is Chief Sean Barnes, Shonbarnes. I'm going to give you a detailed briefing of everything that happened today and include some new information that was not available earlier, as I promised. The Madison Police Department responded to a mass shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School today. Officers were dispatched to the school, which is located on the city's east side at 10:57 a.m. They arrived to find multiple people suffering from gunshot wounds. 3 people, including the shooter, are dead. The shooter has now been identified as 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who went by the name Samantha. She was a student at the school, and evidence suggests she died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The official cause of death will be released by the Dane County Medical Examiner pending the conclusion of their examination. She was pronounced deceased while in transport to a local hospital. A teacher and a teenage student were pronounced dead at the scene at that school. 6 other students and a teacher were injured and taken to area hospitals. 2 students remain in critical condition and have life-threatening injuries. A teacher and 3 students were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 2 of these have been released and discharged from the hospital. The other 2 survivors are considered to be in stable condition.
What it do, flight crew? FTC.
Again, good evening, everyone. My name is Chief Sean Barnes and have life-threatening injuries. A teacher and 3 students were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 2 of these have been released and discharged from the hospital. The other 2 survivors are considered to be in stable condition. At this time, we believe there was only one shooter involved. We are still working to determine a motive. Detectives have talked to her family members this evening, as well as conduct a search of the shooter's home here in Madison. The shooting happened inside a classroom in a study hall of students from mixed grades. A document about this shooting is circulating this time on social media, but we have not verified its authenticity. The Abundant Life Christian School is being monitored by police overnight. At this time, no one is allowed inside or on the school property. The Madison Police Department is aware that people are hoping to hold a vigil at the school tonight. We're asking you not to do that, as this location is still an active crime scene. So I'm going to go over the timeline of events for you. At 10:57 a.m., a second grade student called 911 to report a shooting had occurred at school. Don't let that soak in for a minute. A second grade student called 911 at 10:57 a.m. to report a shooting at school. Officers were dispatched to the school at 10:57. A deputy with the Dane County Sheriff's Office was the first officer to arrive on the scene at 11 a.m. 24 seconds later, the first Madison police officer arrived on the scene at 11:01 and immediately entered the school. Officers bravely entered the building as soon as they arrived, not knowing what they were going to encounter. At 11:05, officers inside the school alerted people that the shooter was down and that a gun had been recovered. At 11:05, the Madison Police Department also began setting up for parents and guardians, and what we briefly described earlier for you as a reunification center that occurred at 11:05. The Madison Fire Department was dispatched to the scene at the same time. They arrived at 11:05 and began linking up with officers who were also inside, and they were instrumental with providing aid to victims who were suffering from gunshot wounds, potentially saving lives. The first public notice about the shooting was posted on the Madison Police Department Incident Report website at 11:13 a.m. Officers began clearing the school building at 11:14, and bomb dogs started to clear the facility at 11:23 a.m. The Madison Fire Department began transporting patients at 11:26. Again, we want to stress that EMS arrived on the scene at 11:05, immediately connecting with officers to enter the scene, not knowing what they were going to experience. Press briefings occurred at 12:15, 12:30, 5:30, and now at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's talk a little bit about our law enforcement and our community partners. Multiple agencies assisted with the response to the shooting. The Madison Fire Department and several other Dane County and EMS agencies, the Dane County Sheriff's Office, the University of Wisconsin Police Department, the FBI, the ATF, all have played major roles in our response and in our investigation. We also want to acknowledge UW Hospital as well as St. Mary's Hospital for their work in treating the survivors of today's school shooting. Community resources. There are resources available to anyone needing help or needing someone to talk to. The Crime Response Unit with the Dane County District Attorney's Office have been mobilized. This is a group of people who are trained to help victims of mass violent incidents. This group is made up of social workers, attorneys, victims, professionals, former law enforcement, and other stakeholders in our community. If you need assistance, you can contact the Crime Response Program between 8 and 5 during the daytime. I'll give that number again, 608-284-6908, and you can reach them after hours at 608-376-0164, 608-376-0164 after hours. The Wisconsin Department of Justice's Office of School Safety and Office of Crime Victim Services are also providing resources during this critical time. Their Critical Incident Response Team program is designed to minimize the psychological impact of a school critical incident and helps to provide long-term mental care long after this is over. And I don't know how we can minimize what has happened today, but we're going to do the best we can to provide services for all these children and staff. We cannot forget the staff who bravely took care of their students during this harrowing time. We also want to thank employees of the Dean Healthcare, which we spoke about before. Again, the clinic shut down for the day, and employees assisted with our unification process. We've also seen an outpouring of support from various community groups and businesses: Twisted Ground Coffee, Greenbush Bakery, Ian's Pizza, Culver's, Mission Barbecue, Starbucks, Salvation Army, and all who donated food for the Unification Center so our children could get fed and be taken care of while they waited to be unified with their loved ones. So a lot has gone on today. I can tell you that it's not over. I can tell you that our officers and our detectives and our investigators will have to be told to go home. No one is thinking about going home right now. They're going to still work as long as they can to find as much information as they can. Obviously, we want to have some daylight tomorrow, so the crime scene is locked down at this particular time. but the officers and detectives and investigators continue to work. This has been a rough day for our city. This has been a sad day. This is going to be a day that will be etched in the collective minds and memories of all those from Madison. It's been a long day for you as well. Thank you for covering it, trying to get the information out to the public as early and as often as we can.
Our traditions are
What it do, flight crew? FT.